Thank you very much. I'm presenting a study protocol to assess accessibility, utilization, and compliance of adolescent sexual reproductive health services in South Sudan context. And this is Wycliff presenting.
Hello. Yeah, you can proceed, Katwesige. Hello.
Yes, we are going to part of the introduction. We tend to. Hello, can you hear me? Yes. Providing sexual reproductive health services to people living in complex humanitarian emergencies is quite challenging. So addressing such needs of adolescents living under such crisis is a fundamental step to achieve the current proposed 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. Currently in South Sudan, the humanitarian situation can be characterized as being fragile, precarious, complex, and uncertain. The national capacity of South Sudan government currently to respond to the needs of its people can be said to be technically crumbled. More than 4.9 million people are currently in dire need of humanitarian assistance, with over 33% of the population being youth under 24 years. This study project will thus assess the accessibility, the utilization, compliance of adolescents' health services, and the study results shall inform advocacy and programming of sexual reproductive health services by humanitarian partners working in South Sudan. In our summary, we intend actually to conduct a cross-sectional study on access, utilization, and compliance on adolescent sexual reproductive services among these refugees who are living in settlement camps and South Sudanese living in internally displaced camps within South Sudan. The results from this study will be used to design a multidimensional program that will enhance compliance, utilization, and accessibility of sexual reproductive health services for the young people aged 10 to 19 years by humanitarian partners in South Sudan. The 1951 Convention on Human Rights for Refugees and other vulnerable groups will be respected. Why do we do this? Conducting research in such vulnerable population, we need approval of the UNHCR and certain bodies, international bodies, that protect the rights of the special vulnerable groups. The World Health Organization expanded framework for designing and carrying out, as well as assessing the results of scaling up health innovation, which provide a step-by-step process will be used among other frameworks to do the analysis of the study. The World Health Expanded Program is actually a tool just designed for programmatic research to anticipate what is required for successful scale-up of health innovations. So what? Here is a picture of one of the assessments we did, which is a joint assessment mission in South Sudan, that is early September 2015. And that is the Gorom Refugee Settlement Camp. It is located in South Sudan. Actually, our assessment, which we did, revealed major gaps in terms of access, utilization of adolescent health services in that particular camp. And that one informed the need for this particular research. So what? More than 4.9 million people actually in South Sudan are in dire need of humanitarian assistance. 33% of the population is actually youth under 24 years, as seen earlier. Recent assessments also reveal many gaps in provision of adolescent health services. Adolescents are increasingly becoming vulnerable to complex or conflict environments, thus impacting negatively to their health. More research to establish efficient means of delivering services to reach such marginalized or vulnerable adolescents like refugees is quite demanding. And recent studies in one of the refugee camps actually within South Sudan revealed that South Sudanese living in such camp had a number of unmet sexual, the services had an unmet services for the sexual reproductive services. The methodology which we are going to apply is actually going to be, we are going to conduct a cross-sectional study that will be involving a mixed method using qualitative and quantitative approaches, which we shall apply. Our research criteria for the literature will include Cochrane libraries, public-made, and the other such libraries. Literature will be organized and referenced by softwares like Mendeley and Zotero. Why are we doing this? We are in emergency situation. Actually, we shall use a quicker method of analysis or referencing. The results will be analyzed using World Health Organization ExpandNet framework, as discussed above. The results and the discussion of this research, actually we shall study, this study will be based on the hypothesis that identification of special beliefs which actually predict sexual risk and protective behaviors could lead to the design of culturally and linguistically specific interventions, especially this situation of South Sudan, where we have refugees from different backgrounds. Adolescents living in conflicts, we also hypothesize that the adolescents living in such conflict settings like South Sudan are more likely to have limited access, low utilization of adolescent sexual reproductive services, and the provision of these services may be as below the World Health Organization set standard. And conclusively, we can say that the conclusion which we shall draw from this study will be used to make recommendation for future studies on similar projects within South Sudan. Some of the references are listed on this search here. And in my conclusion, I would say that in an attempt to generate demand for scaling up and increasing realization of health services among refugees in South Sudan, this project will conduct a study to synthesize evidence that will inform programming of humanitarian interventions that put in account access issues, compliance to standards, as well as sufficient utilization of adolescent health services amongst our refugees. Thank you very much. And the last picture is one of the pictures we took while assessing services within one of the camps within South Sudan during the joint assessment mission, which was conducted by UNHCR, World Food Program, WHO, and other partners to assess the needs of vulnerable population within South Sudan. Thank you for attending.